It's recording, so whenever you want to go.
All right. Hey guys, we're the tradeblockpodcast. This is our new episode for this week. We're going to be discussing the recent NBA news, conference finals, and our picks for the NBA finals. And then we're going to give you guys our biggest takeaways from week 1 and our biggest upsets for week 2 of the NFL season. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
Yeah, so starting off, we got to talk about the Clippers and Nuggets game, obviously. Especially for like a huge Kawhi fan like I am, you gotta admit it takes away from how he's going to be looked at and the greatest players of all time.
A stain on his legacy.
Yeah, a stain on his legacy. Because it's not only that the Clippers played terribly, it's that he also didn't play very well. And when you talk about players in the NBA that are like amazing, like Jordan and LeBron, these are players that can carry a team, and Kawhi couldn't carry the Clippers against the Nuggets. And I'm very saddened by that because I'm a huge fan of Kawhi, obviously. And I think a lot of people thought the Clippers were gonna win, and they didn't.
Including us.
Including
all
us.
Of us.
You know,
all of us.
All of us.
Yeah.
We're
Every
sorry.
You guys will remember that we unanimously picked the Clippers to beat.
If anyone bet on them
Because
of us, we will refund your money.
That is not true.
That is not true.
Just don't listen to us.
But yeah, I mean, obviously the Nuggets played very well, so not taking anything away from them, but kind of disappointing. Yeah.
Yeah, I think going off what you said about the Nuggets didn't play really well. They played like they were a force. I mean, Nikola Jokic, I think he solidified his title as best center in the league. I don't know if we've seen anyone like him in a really long time, at least from an offensive and playmaking perspective. There's no big man in the league that can pass like him, and we've known this for a while, but he showed up there. And Jamal Murray, just going in there, in and out. This playoffs, I think, probably a top 5 player in this playoffs.
Oh,
I mean,
sure.
you put up 2 50-point games in the first round, come back 3-1 against Kawhi and the Clippers. That's really impressive. And I honestly feel like this was more about the Nuggets. Well, not the last game, but for the majority of the series, I think the Nuggets just outplayed the Clippers. Obviously, in the last game, Clippers shot themselves in the foot. Pandemic P and Kawhi, they did not play well. I don't think that it will affect them that much for next year because I think that they're probably going to have the same team. I don't see them making any moves, and that duo is going to make runs in the playoffs. That's just what they do. They've been there a lot, and I think Kawhi can take them there next year. But I think we got to give credit to the Nuggets here for just outplaying the Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, people were like talking about how the Clippers are going to blow it all up now just because they didn't make it the whole way this year. And I understand. Paul George said our goal wasn't really to win the championship this year. It's just to feel it out and everything. Yeah, that's complete BS. Obviously, he's just making excuses, which he seems to do a lot. But, I mean, I wouldn't be too worried about the Clippers going in the future. But I think they will still definitely be title contenders next year. But talking about the Nuggets, it's crazy how they were one Mike Conley 3 away from going home in the first round. And now they're going to play the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals. It's wild. And we have to give huge props to them. Jokic carried them Game 5 and Game 6. He played amazingly. And then Murray stepped it up for Game 7, and he shot their way through the finals. And, yeah, I mean, I think the Lakers are going to beat them, and I think we all think that, honestly. But you can't count out this Nuggets team. They've come back from 3-1 twice now. So we'll see what happens.
Someone this week asked me if what more Denver had to do to prove themselves, and honestly, I said win the chip, because I think they're gonna lose to the Lakers. Honestly, I think we can all agree that it's inevitable. You know, the Lakers have been playing a higher level of basketball than we've seen from anyone in the Western Conference. You know, but I like Denver's odds at winning a chip in the next 2 years. Let me throw some numbers at you guys. Will Barton is 29, Bul's 20. Torrey Craig is 29. Jokic is 25. Gary Harris is 26. Monte Morris is 25. Jamal Murray is 23. MPJ is 22. They have a very young team, and those young players are balling out against some of the West's toughest competition. I think, honestly, if they get some more pieces, maybe if they work on their defense, I know like Michael Porter Jr. has to work on his defense. They could honestly be like 1 or 2 years away from seriously like making a good run at this title. Like I really like this team's odds, especially if they can keep this core together. I think they've played great. I think young teams kind of come in with like nothing to prove. Like we all thought maybe they'd go home first round. Then we all thought they're definitely going home second round. They have nothing left to prove. If they get swept by the Lakers, we'll still talk about how great of a job they did. So like with nothing left to lose, like you can really like throw it all out there. So I don't know. I think they're a scary sight right now, but I still think LA wins it in like 5 or something.
I mean, at this point, it's probably best that the Lakers give the Nuggets like a game or two just so that it doesn't get into a 3-1 situation.
Honestly.
They haven't lost one of those yet. But getting into Celtics Heat, which has been an electrifying series, has members of this podcast divided as we speak.
Who doesn't?
With Jake being the only one for the Celtics.
The lone wolf.
But every game, Miami's up 2 games, but every game is decisive. It's very close. It's come down to the last like a minute, like in every game, and all players are playing pretty phenomenally. Like no one's choking. It's a great basketball. If you're not watching the series, then you should be. But yeah, I think the Heat are going to take it because they've been able to edge out the Celtics every time. So go Jimmy, go Tyler. Go Duncan, and Jay Crowder is going crazy. And especially go Bam. Bam is going to be the MVP of Miami if they get to the finals.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I think Jimmy might win Finals MVP if they make it there and they win. But we'll have to see. The team is really balanced, and they all play hard. But on Thursday, something that was really interesting. On Thursday, I had the Heat game on, and when they went into halftime, they were down double digits, and I was like, all right, screw this. I'm going to put on Thursday Night Football. I was like, okay, I get to watch Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield, 2 guys who I like a lot. This is fine. I'll just watch football. And once commercial break comes, I change back the channel, and it's the end of the third quarter, and the Heat are winning. And I think that that's just a statement to what they've done throughout the entire playoffs. They don't give up, and they play hard no matter what the score is, and that's why I think that they have a real shot, and I think that's why a lot of people are starting to see what they're doing and their clutchness, which they've had their clutchness since the regular season. I don't remember their record in overtime games in the regular season.
It's 9-2 now. It's 9-2 now.
It's 9-2 this season. Yeah, in overtime. I mean, that's really impressive. And you have to give props to this team. I think Boston is a really good team. They probably have a top 3 roster in the NBA. But I think that the Miami Heat honestly just want it more. And I think we're starting to see some bad blood going on in the Celtics locker room. You know, we haven't talked about Marcus Smart, but there were things going on there. And this Heat team is really frustrating to play against because they're so good at stopping teams and making sure that they come back. So I think that this series is going to be over, and I think the Heat are going to make it to the finals. But yeah, I mean, don't diss the Celtics. The Heat are just better.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump in. So Jake right now, because like I'm kind of on your side, and Jake, we'll let Jake try to dig his way out of this hole in just a minute. Yeah, like I thought the Celtics might have the best starting 5 in the season. Like they were in contention with the Clippers preseason. I thought they could have one of the best starting 5s in the league. Like it looked scary, and they had a lot of key players coming off the bench. It was a scary sight. But bottom 3 team chemistry. I mean, this team is really getting into it. Marcus Smart was throwing things in the locker room. He stormed out to go to the bathroom. This team is against the ropes, and I think they know it. Look, when you have to guard Hero, Butler, Jay Crowder, Bam, Jimmy, Goran Dragic, who has been the X factor for Miami, he's been a total game changer these playoffs. Like, it's exhausting. It's almost like you can't, like, if you're Boston, you can't help but, like, throw your arms up and say, like, you know, like Brad Stevens, like, I can't guard these dudes. They're too good. Like, they're balling out. I like the point about the clutchness, Benji. I think, like, it goes to, like, Tyler Hero. Because they're trusting him with so many clutch minutes down the stretch. Like, they're really saying, like, all right, we have our faith in you. Like, go in there and, like, play good. And he has so much confidence. He doesn't sweat. He's ice cold. And I think good things happen when you trust rookies like that. The Denver Nuggets trusted MPJ in that series against LA, and we all know how that turned out. I think Boston's against the ropes. I think they can maybe, like, fight their way back to maybe, like, stealing a game, but I think it would take all their energy. They would have to shut down every single Miami player. There's no true superstar, you know? There's no, like, LeBron that you have to contain or no, like, Steph that you have to double team. It's everyone. Everyone is playing amazing. So I think if they do win a game, it's going to take all of their effort, and then Miami can just, like, clean up. But take it away, Jake.
All right, here we go. So first off, I'm going to give major props to the Heat and Eric Spoelstra. Spoelstra has come out with some amazing adjustments. Throwing the zone at Boston in the second half frazzled us. I mean, I'm shocked with how badly we responded to that zone. I will admit, that took us off guard. And major props to the Heat players, you know. Jimmy, I mean, it was weird that he said this thing during the game. They talked about this, that how he said, I let my teammates get in rhythm, and then I start to play, like, for real in the fourth quarter. Which I thought, hearing that at the time, that, like, that's crazy, right? Like, who would do that? But he's doing it, and it's actually really, really working. And it's insane. Jimmy's a leader. He is an amazing player. Major props to him. Bam Adebayo, man. We don't really have a stop to him. That's the one thing I'll say. We don't have a stop to him. I mean, we don't have, like, any big men who can really contain him. He had 15, 16 points in the third quarter alone.
I thought Tice was a good defender, though.
Tice is an extremely good defender. He's just not athletic, okay? So he can't match the athleticism.
Okay.
He doesn't match the athleticism of Bam.
I get that, yeah.
Thank you. But Goran Dragic, I don't know if I said this, but I thought in my head, like, he is the X factor for the series. He's been amazing this entire playoffs. He hit some crazy huge shots down the stretch of that game 2, which basically put us out of reach. Like, even though we had that shot to tie it at the end with Jaylen Brown, he had an open look even. We missed, and we lost. But here's why the Celtics are going to win in 6. Here we go. You ready for this? First off, huge news. Woj just tweeted. Hayward is likely to play Game 3. Very likely to play Game 3. All right.
Wonderful.
So listen. So the zone, right? Tatum played very badly against it. Smart played very badly against it. Brown and Walker did okay because they know how to play zones. They drive to the paint, jumpers. That's how you beat a zone. You know who's really good at doing that? Gordon Hayward. Okay? If they bring out the zone, Gordon Hayward will attack, and he will get his shots. It may not even be that much, but it will be enough to stop those crazy runs that the Heat go on. The Heat, like, they will have these 12-0 runs out of absolutely nowhere. Who can stop that right now? None of them. Hayward is that guy who will get buckets when you need it most, okay? Also, let's talk about these Game 1 and Game 2. We were right there. It's not like it's been crazy blowouts or anything, okay? Jaylen Brown, if he hits that 3, we go to OT Game 2, and who knows what happens. I understand Heat are very clutch in OT, 9-2 in the entire season. But, just saying, Celtics, I mean, they would give them a fight. It's 2-0. I will admit that. It's going to be tough to come back. But if there's any – I'm telling you this. I'll tell you one thing. This last year's team with Kyrie Irving would have just rolled over and died at this point. We'd just get swept. This team, I'm happy they fought in the locker room. They need to get that spark going. They need to get that fire going, okay? I'm glad Marcus Smart's the one leading that. I think we're going to see a crazy turnaround this game. And you know what? I'm calling it Celtics in 6. I have faith in this team, okay?
That was kind of beautiful, Jake. I'm sorry. That was beautiful. You might want to send that to Brad Stevens. That could be the spark. That was kind of
they'll play it before the game tonight.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, Jake definitely made a lot of points, and we got to respect that. He's still trying to fight for his team. But now let's get into the MVP that was recently released. Giannis won the regular season MVP award, And I think I agree with that. He was unstoppable in the regular season. He's the reason why the Bucks were the 1 seed. And I don't know how much there is to say. Obviously, there's, people who think that LeBron should win. LeBron thought he should win. But everyone's an amazing player. And I think that Giannis just deserved it more for this regular season. And I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, you could make an argument every year, and this is a very common argument that I think a lot of people hear a lot, is that LeBron should win MVP every year. And in a way, they're not wrong, because probably the best player in the league, even though he's 35, I don't know how many years he has left in the tank, probably a good few. I could see him going into 40. But Giannis was the 1 seed this year. His defensive efficiency was incredible. They were the best defensive team in the league. His offensive efficiency was incredible. Points per game, rebounds, just everywhere, making his teammates better like LeBron does. I think there were just so many things that Giannis did this year that propelled him over LeBron. And I completely understand the LeBron argument, especially now that what we're seeing in the playoffs. At the end of the day, it's a regular season award. Bucks had the best regular season record. Giannis was the best player in the regular season. I think it makes sense to me.
Yeah, Bron and Bron fans are really on IG talking about how Bron got robbed and everything. Like, there's a reason there is a regular season MVP and there's a finals MVP. If LeBron and the Lakers win the finals, fine. Give LeBron the finals MVP. He did not deserve the regular season MVP. That was Giannis. He had amazing stats, and he averaged it in like 30 to 31 minutes a game. He averaged more points, more rebounds, more blocks, more steals, more assists. Well, not more assists, sorry. I got a little ahead of myself there. But, Giannis definitely deserved this award. There's not really much else to say. Bron can think he can use this as motivation all he wants and go for it. You do that. But, Giannis deserved this award, 100%.
Look, I'm a really big Bron fan. I think he's my favorite athlete ever. Like, just my favorite person to play any sport ever. But I know that MJ's the GOAT. So that's why I wanted Bron to win this. Maybe he can kind of chase him down, 2 more rings, 2 more finals MVPs, 2 more MVPs makes the conversation a little tighter. I'll say this to the LeBron argument for winning MVP. First thing is, statistically, by the numbers, the Bucks were better without Giannis than the Lakers without LeBron, even with Anthony Davis. LeBron's impact, as soon as he got on the court, was so much more than Giannis's. Also the eye test, if you would just watch them, you obviously Giannis is dominant, but LeBron just makes everyone around him better. He's distributing the passes, he's picking guys up. He changes the momentum so quickly too with those crazy tomahawk dunks. It's just it's hard to stop it, and then you just feel deflated afterwards. And then I'll say, in head-to-head matchups during the regular season, Giannis kind of underperformed against the Lakers, and LeBron and AD would just have field days against the Bucks whenever they played against each other. All that being said, I still think Giannis deserved it. I think with a guy like Anthony Davis on your roster, it's really hard to win MVP. I think it's really hard for either of them to win MVP at this point because they're kind of sharing everything. And, Giannis had one of the highest player efficiency rating of all time. Better than Wilt Chamberlain. Which is, if you're beating Wilt Chamberlain in anything besides, being normal, that's newsworthy.
Yeah.
Wilt Chamberlain was that dude. So, he's, an urban legend. So, if you have a higher player efficiency rating than him, by all means, take MVP. Bron can have finals MVP, honestly. I think he might do it. But yeah, I think Giannis deserved it.
Yeah, you can make even an analogy to the NFL with Lamar Jackson winning the MVP last year, and then someone could say, well, shouldn't Mahomes win MVP every year because he's just the best player? And technically, yeah, he's the best player, but sometimes someone just plays extraordinarily well, and even if you're overall kind of the best player, someone could just ball out for one season. Not saying that Giannis only balls out one season, but they just win that one. That one they specifically picked better. And LeBron's kind of always going to be the best player in the NBA right now, but someone else could win the MVP. Otherwise, that'd be kind of stupid if he won every single year, even if he may or may not deserve it.
That's a good way to sum it up.
Thank you.
Okay, so how about this? We'll make finals predictions. We'll say who we think is going to the finals and how many games that team's going to win it, and then finals MVP. Let's just do it right there. Let's get it out there.
All right.
Good.
You want to start?
Me? Okay. Riley doesn't want to start because he knows that he's going to have some crazy prediction. Okay. I'm taking Lakers and Heat. Sorry, Jake. Your speech made me tear up a little bit, but no, I'm still rolling with the Heat. And I've thought about this a lot. I really don't like LA's supporting cast. I think they can go cold for very long stretches. Like if Danny Green and Kuzma and KCP aren't hitting their shots, that team looks bad. But it honestly comes down to like size and dominance, which I think AD and LeBron just have. Like I don't think you'll ever see two bad games out of both of them like together. I think if like one has a bad game, then like Anthony Davis will drop 42, or LeBron will drop like 20, 15, and 15. Like one of them's always going to have a crazy game. But I think Miami's kind of mob mentality brings it close, so I'm rolling with Lakers in 7, LeBron Finals MVP.
I'll go next.
Okay, you want to go?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Lakers, Miami, Lakers in 5. I think the Lakers are playing insane, and I don't think anyone, except for like a game, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Who's winning finals?
Oh yeah, LeBron. Yeah.
Bron?
Yeah, Bron. Yeah.
All right. I don't see a world where the Lakers don't make the finals. I think that it's possible that the Celtics could win in 7. I don't really see that happening either, though. I'm gonna pick the Heat. And these teams are the 2 best performing teams in the playoffs. I don't think that either of them have faced any competition that is equal to the way that they've played. So I think it's really going to be an entertaining series. However, I think at the end of the day, you can play as hard as you want. But when you have LeBron and AD on the other side of the floor, it makes it really difficult. I think in the finals, star power does win. And that's why I'm going to pick the Lakers, I think, in 6. I'll say 6. And since you guys are picking LeBron, I'll switch it up a little bit. I'll go AD. I think, personally, I think that Bam could have a good series. But I don't really see Anthony Davis being stopped by this Heat team. I think that they're going to have to choose between LeBron or AD. And if I were the Heat, I would try and stop LeBron. And I think that AD is going to have a better series. So I'll pick AD for Finals MVP.
So that's a very fair point, honestly. Like AD has balled out these playoffs. He definitely has a case to Finals MVP. Well, you already know who I have coming out the East. I still have faith. I still have faith in my Celtics. Okay, and I'm gonna take the Nugget. No, I'm taking the Lakers. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves here. I'm taking the Lakers. Quickly on the Nuggets, though. I just want to say I disrespected them so much. I just casted off the Nuggets-Clippers series as Clippers have won it already. It's nothing. I really hope they don't disprove me and all of us. Because if the Nuggets somehow beat the Lakers now and ruin our finals predictions again, that would be
anti-trade block.
Yeah, that would be very, very sad. So I have Celtics-Lakers. And as much as I really, really want to pick the Celtics, I'm going to go with the Lakers in 6, we'll say. And I think Bron gets the Finals MVP. But it should be fun to see. It should be fun to watch.
I like the case about AD winning Finals MVP. Honestly, if you had to name a playoffs MVP to this point, I think out of, like, in the Lakers, like, if you had to pick a playoffs MVP for the Lakers, like, who has been the best playoff performer for the Lakers, you have to go AD. Bron's had some great games. I think he has, like, 2 or 3 triple-doubles. He's had some really great games. I think that game against Houston, he had, like, 29 in the first half. But Anthony Davis just rolls in, drops 35 and 10, and just leaves. And that's it. It's a game to him, It's nothing. Yeah. So, but I'm still rolling with LeBron just because I think Adam Silver wouldn't hand that trophy to Anthony Davis when LeBron's right there. So,
Yeah,
that's fair. All right. So I think that's going to cover it for the NBA. We definitely went heavy on NFL last week, so we wanted to make sure that we got NBA in. But now we can talk about some football. And last Sunday, we finally got to see some action. And there were some pretty interesting upsets. I think Riley was definitely pretty surprised.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about three teams, and I'm not going to go extensively into any of them, but the three teams are the Jaguars and the Redskins and
Wait,
the
who?
Cardinals. Oh my God.
Wait, what was it?
Oh my God. Did I say that?
What did you say?
Whoa.
What did you say?
Whoa. Whoa. All right. Relax. I don't even know what I'm talking about. That's
Uncalled for.
Anyway, for some reason that slipped in my head. I meant the Washington football team, obviously. But anyway, going on the football team first, they have an elite pass rush. I mean, I know Lane Johnson was out, as me and Jake talked about earlier when we weren't recording, but this front seven is for real. I mean, if you can't have a bad front seven and get 8 sacks in a game, regardless of who you're playing. And I think that front seven is going to keep them in a lot of games. I think that it's going to be impressive. I think that they could win 6 or 7 games because of that defense. And now talking about the Jags, this offense is really good. I mean, the defense is rough. Although, I will say, C.J. Henderson is a beast. I watched him. He locked T.Y. Hilton up. He got a pick. He had 3 pass deflections. He played really well. Miles Jack, too. I don't know if I talked about him before, but he had a great game as well. But James Robinson and that running offense really impressed me. I mean, you cut Leonard Fournette, and you don't expect an undrafted rookie to be able to play the way that they did. But it was really impressive, and he ran super hard, and he fought for yards. I think that he's going to be the starter throughout the year, and we could see him getting close and teetering on a 1,000-yard season. And then you have Gardner Minshew, who best completion percentage last week, played really well. Again, really impressive. This offense, definitely we did not give them enough credit. And the Cardinals, I'm not going to get too much into the Cardinals because I've already talked about it. The secondary is legit. Defense is super athletic. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins are going to be a top 5 duo this year. And I think Kyler Murray is a sleeper for Offensive Player of the Year, maybe even MVP, just because he's so dynamic with his legs. And I think that we're going to see a really good season from them. I think they're legit.
I mean, the Cardinals played very well week 1, but I mean, that division is like crazy good. I don't see them making the playoffs. I do think the 49ers will rebound, and they'll get ahead of them in the division. I think they go 10-6. Cardinals finish 9-7 and barely miss the playoffs. Real quick, I want to say about Washington and the Jaguars. I underestimated them. I picked them to go 2-14, both of them. I underestimated both of them. Washington have a legit front seven, so fair play to them. And then Jags, Gardner Minshew, is he the real deal? I mean, maybe there is no need to tank.
He looked like it. He looked really good.
He looked really good, yeah. And I want to my one takeaway. Eagles fans, do not worry, all right? We're getting Lane Johnson back. We're getting Miles Sanders back this week. We're taking a dub this week, all right? Trust me in that. You have $100, go bet on the Eagles, all right? I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
But,
don't do that.
Don't do that.
God, we're gonna get some nasty DMs soon.
Don't worry that the Washington football team had 8 sacks against you. No. We're getting Lane Johnson back. The running attack's gonna be slightly better. Don't worry about it. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that. Yeesh. I want to talk about the Bears. Actually, you guys know I'm a secondary Lions fan. Sure, haha, beat up on the Lions fan, whatever. Mitch Trubisky looked good. It was kind of like everyone was like, "Oh yeah, Mitch Trubisky game-winning drive, haha," and then he actually did it, and his stats were kind of impressive. We kind of made jokes about like the Nick Foles competition kind of sparking a fire underneath him. It kind of did. I don't know. Their defense looks good, not great. It's not the Bears defense we remember from that 12-4 season, but Trubisky looks good. I think they'll keep Allen Robinson. I think they'll extend him. They better. I kind of liked what I saw out of Chicago. It was pretty good. As far as the Cardinals go, I liked that Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins were gelling. I was really happy to see that. Just because I thought, like, with no preseason limited practices in person, I kind of thought they wouldn't be on the same page. But they were.
Mm-hmm.
DeAndre Hopkins had a great game. And you know what? They beat San Fran. That was kind of impressive. I think that was a big upset for all of us.
Well, some of us.
Some of us.
You
I
guys,
did pick the Cardinals.
I can pick the underdog every single week and just be like, oh yeah, I called, Jacksonville over the Chiefs, but like, no, I didn't. No one did.
Jake also picked the Jets last week, so I don't know.
I did.
We should give him too much credit.
All right, should we get into week 2? Crazy upsets.
Yeah, I do want to talk about Joe Burrow for a sec and Baker Mayfield because Thursday Night Football, they both really impressed me. I mean, regardless of what you want to say about Joe Burrow, he threw 61 pass attempts, and he did not throw an interception. As a rookie, that's really impressive, and I think because he threw so many passes, you can see that Zach Taylor and that team is putting their faith in Joe Burrow, and I think that he's going to have a really good rookie year. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins Offensive Rookie of the Year over someone like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who also has been really impressive in week 1. But Baker Mayfield also, I think this team is dependent on the run game, and I think that's why we saw them lose so bad against the Ravens. But if they get the run game going, the field opens up for Baker Mayfield. I mean, if Baker Mayfield can get out of the pocket and make throws to people like Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry, then they're going to be a good team. I still think that they can make the playoffs. Yes, it's a tough division. They could go 1-5, 2-4 in this division. But overall, I think this defense and this run game is what's going to propel them to the playoffs. I still think they're going to make it at 9-7.
I just don't like how much the run game has to be good for Baker Mayfield to be average. Down the stretch, they needed a TD, and I think 4 plays in a row, they just gave it to Chubb, gave it to Hunt. I don't like that. I think Baker showed flashes that rolling out of the pocket, hitting OBJ in stride to get the touchdown, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Did the exact same thing third quarter, rolled out of the pocket, threw deep, look into the end zone, picked off. I don't like
that was rough.
How good Chubb and Hunt both have to be. Both of them have to score multiple TDs in a game just to beat Cincinnati by 5.
I agree with everything you're saying, but Chubb and Hunt are both possibly top 10 running backs. They're amazing. They're unreal. People forget how – I don't know, maybe they forget or they're just choosing to forget how good Kareem Hunt was really with the Chiefs. And true, it's the Chiefs offense, obviously, but Kareem Hunt is a legit running back, okay? And they
I think because of the whole scandal, we're trying to forget.
We're kind of trying to forget, yeah. But I also agree. I agree, Browns. I think they make the playoffs this year. I think they surprise people and they make it at 9-7. But anyways, speaking of upsets, let's get into some crazy upsets. I have one wild upset that probably no one's going to agree with. I have the Raiders beating the Saints this week.
Okay.
Michael Thomas is out. Derek Carr, listen, Derek Carr is good. Derek Carr is a good quarterback. People sleep on Derek Carr so much. Josh Jacobs is going to feast, okay? The Raiders' offense, their weapons are actually very solid now. I think they have a legit chance. This is, I don't know why, but this is just the type of game that the Raiders would win, and this is the type of game that the Saints would lose. I don't know, but we'll see. I have the Raiders beating the Saints.
I think that's preposterous, Jake.
I
think it's absolutely blasphemous.
That's probably the worst take I've heard. Well, you did say that they were going to the playoffs, so I guess I should have expected that. But no, the Saints are a Super Bowl contender. So, no.
Yeah, and sure, they scored 34 points last week. That was against Carolina. They do not have a good defense right now. The Saints have a very good defense right now. And I'm honestly not worried. They scored 34 points on the Tampa Bay defense, and Michael Thomas only had 3 catches. I don't think that he's going to have that much of an impact this week. I don't see that being an upset. So, I mean, one upset that I do want to look at is the Patriots and the Seahawks. And I know Riley is a big fan of this one.
With
I'm excited.
Yeah. But everyone knows that I am, as we talked about before, I'm not a big fan of the Seahawks lines. And I'm really worried that they're not going to be able to get any pressure on Cam Newton. And Cam Newton is going to have a field day. So I think that he's going to be able to run efficiently. I think that he's going to be able to pass efficiently. And I also think that the Patriots secondary is going to lock up DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. This secondary is probably the best one in the league. So I get it, good duo, Russell Wilson. I don't see them pulling out this game. I'm going to pick the Patriots.
I'm rolling with that too. I agree with everything you said. I like Jamal Adams in the secondary, but Cam's not a deep thrower kind of guy. He doesn't have that crazy arm. He's not going to throw 3 deep passes. What he's going to do is he's going to get those quick slants to Edelman. He's going to get those quick runs. So I like that pick too.
Yeah, I actually unfortunately have a disagreeing opinion here, but I think the Patriots are going to lose because I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I think that in the end the Seahawks just have a better offense in the end. But that was this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys enjoyed us talking about the NBA and the NFL, and let us know in our Instagram if you have any opinions about what we should talk about next week, and make sure to check out our YouTube because it's awesome. All right, guys. Thanks for listening.